Sometimes God doesn't move you for you, he moves you for your descendants. He moves you to position you in a place that in your lifetime you don't fully understand exactly why you did what you did. But out of that movement, God is thinking generationally while you are thinking situationally. The other thing I want you to notice is that God moves generationally. While most of us think situationally, God moves generationally. You might not like this part. We are always praying to God about situations when God has a plan that is generational. Sometimes God doesn't move you for you, he moves you for your descendants. He moves you to position you in a place that in your lifetime you don't fully understand exactly why you did what you did. But out of that movement, God is thinking generationally while you are thinking situationally. I'm going to tell you why this is important. A lot of you are disappointed because God hasn't fixed your situation. But God is concerned about your generation. And sometimes God will use your situation to move your generation into the place that he wants it to go. Sure, we all want to see our children blessed. There's no doubt about that. We want to see our children blessed. But we are so focused on our dream, our comfort, our calling, that we seldom see the omniscience of God's divine strategy. That is to say that sometimes we don't accept inconvenience to accomplish divine purpose. Purpose will always require inconvenience. Do you hear what I'm saying to you? I said, do you hear what I'm saying to you? God tells Father Abraham that his children will sojourn in Egypt for 400 years, and afterwards they will come out with great substance. Before Abraham dies, God speaks to him and says, your children will sojourn in Egypt for 400 years, and afterwards they will come out with great substance. I only bring this up to let you see how far ahead God is thinking. God has at least a 400-year plan. You praying about next week. And God is telling Abraham, go ahead and rest and don't worry about anything. I got a 400-year strategy. And the Bible says in Ephesians that he worketh all things after the counsel of his own will. That means that God is working things not after the counsel of your will, but after the counsel of his own will. Then it goes on to say, which he hath purposed in himself. Are you hearing what I'm saying? Now, it's hard to preach this to a narcissistic society who thinks everything is about you. It's very difficult to preach this kind of message to a generation of people who have Jiffy cornbread. Half of this room has never tasted anything but instant grits. Most of this room doesn't remember what a rotary phone was or a party line. We got an Apple 18. We can't remember numbers anymore because the machines are sapping our intelligence. Because when nothing is required of you, you lose the ability to remember it. I grew up at a time that you had to remember people's phone numbers. Now, the one who could remember it at 15 can't remember it now at 65, not because I'm old, I'm spoiled. My phone just does it quick. I hit the name and it dials for me. Sometimes convenience is an enemy to intelligence. And And it creates an atmosphere that we are so caught up in culture that we expect God to submit to culture. But God is God. God is God. Before there was a where, when, or this or that, God was God. God was God. God was God before Google. God was God before Microsoft. God was God before technology. God was God before any of the things that we take for granted now. And we expect God to work like our little machines in our own time. But he tells Abraham, after 400 years, your seed will come out with great substance. It is the afterwards of God that we don't talk about. If it doesn't happen quickly, we get angry with a God who has the end planned from the beginning. This thing is already set, y'all. You'd have pulled up a chair in front of your LED screen and you're watching the news like God is trying to figure it out. First thing in the morning, you're turning it on. You're turning on your phone for updates. God doesn't do updates. Your update is past date to God. Your updates are outmoded by God. God has determined the end from the beginning. You know, when I'm not doing this, we shoot films and produce films. And I used to think that films were shot in sequence, but they're not. For budgetary reasons alone, often the end is shot from the beginning. So that when you're in the editing suite, all you have to do is edit it into the ending because the ending is already set. In biblical terms, this is predestined. Predestined. I'm telling you, half of the things you're worried about are already set. They're already in place. They're already there. Now, you must understand that God is working on something that is generational. And we're reading about something that is situational. And what God is talking to Isaac about is about his dead father Abraham and the covenant that he made with him. And he said, I have given Abraham my word. Abraham is dead. And God is keeping his word to a dead man. Now, you know, if God's integrity is strong enough to keep his word to a corpse, how much more will he keep his word? Come on, church. How much more will he keep his word towards you? Most people, they keep their word while you're living. At best, not most, some of them, just a few of them keep their word when you're living. Very few people will keep their word after you're gone. Abraham is dead, and God is directing his seed, Isaac, into a place of blessing in the middle of a famine because God has given his word to protect his seed. Somebody throw your hands up and say, protect my seed.